YouTube? It's your boy Carter TV here, and I'm back with part 3 to the therapist. This story kicks off about a transgender woman turned man, and he goes by Willie Wanders. Willie Wanders is the story. His story kicks off basically. It starts off in high school where when he was a woman, he went by Wanda. Then he changed his name to Willie. Willie Wanders changed his whole name when he was transitioning. Faced a lot of criticism from peers. Faced a lot of abuse, verbal abuse at home. Became the black sheep of his family, and basically it caused him to have mental issues, and wanted to kill himself. He also had a vendetta against men due to the fact that the abuse of his father. So the story basically takes place a little after Fred and whatever. I want to say 2 months later after the Fred situation, and he divorced his wife, which divorce is almost finalized. So Daniel is focusing on going back to school for another degree, something else. And he has a patient named Willie Wanders. And when he meets Willie, he's taken back because of how feminine he looks. But also notice the transitioning, still taking place. This is a little right after high school, so Willie is around in his early 20s, so like a little after high school. He recommended a therapist for somebody to talk to about his issues, and he meets Daniel, the therapist, who he finds very attractive. So he's like drawn into him by his his muscular body build, his good looks. So he's taken back by that. He basically, introduces himself as Willie, and he tells Daniel, like, I'm a transgendered woman turned man. And he's also going through the surgery of removing his man parts and getting a woman, removing his woman parts and getting a man part. You know what I mean? He already got the chest taken out. He's bulking up. He's getting facial hairs growing in. And he basically wants, to talk to Daniel about being accepted. He's going out to these gay bars, every now and then. He hasn't found anybody to his liking, but he comes across Daniel, and he taking a liking to Daniel, especially how he carries himself. So Daniel basically talk to him, and ask him, like, what are you looking to be accepted by? Like, your family, your friends. He was like, basically everybody. Coming here was a struggle for me to come here in itself, but I need somebody to talk to because I didn't want to end up killing myself or shielding myself to the world. I'm basically am who I am. I'm a transgendered woman turned man. I want to be identified as a man. And I just want to be accepted. I don't want to be overlooked. I don't want to be looked at as a monster or anything of that nature. I just want to be accepted. Daniel, is that so hard? And Daniel's like, no, it's going to take time. It's going to take some getting used to. Not everybody agrees with transgender. Everybody has their opinion on it. That shouldn't stop you from doing what you want to do. You know what I mean? You are your own person. You decide your own fate. So after talking to Daniel for about 2 hours, he kind of grew on him. He kind of liked him. He, shook his hand in a firm manner and was like, we should do it again. He's like, sure, you got 6 sessions with me. This is the first of many. I will gladly see you again soon. So Willie took it into that, and then let me remind y'all, Willie do have a problem with men due to his father. So he hasn't really been in the dating world, but he got drawn to Daniel, how Daniel came off to him. So he decided to take Daniel's advice and just, try to get accepted into the world. He started going to the gay bars, socializing, getting back into the world. Daniel works from home. So, he makes good money working from home as customer service. He also previously started looking Daniel up, like looking up his background and stuff like that, and noticed that he's going through a divorce and other, he's going back to school, all this and that and the third. So in the next session, Willie brings it up. He's like, hey, I see that you're going through a divorce. Is everything all right? He's like, yeah, everything's cool, It happens. He said, man, I asked why. So Daniel basically was like, I don't want to talk about me because this is not for me. This is for you. He's like, I'm just kind of curious, man. Like, why would a decent brother like yourself be going through a divorce? Like, he was like, stuff happens in relationships. Stuff happens in marriage. My wife did something that I couldn't forgive. My wife, to be frank with you, my wife is having a baby by somebody who raped her. And I just couldn't accept that. So Willie was like taken back. He was like, that's crazy. So what happened to the man? The man is in jail right now. He's in jail. My wife is doing her own thing, which I'm going to be doing. I'm going to eventually get back into the dating world, but let's get back to you. So he changes the subject, and basically Willie was like, I finally started going out. I went to the gay bar, socialized a little bit, met a guy, going to see how far it goes. He said, that's good. That's good. I'm proud of you, man. You're stepping up. You're doing it. You're seeing what the world has to offer to yourself. That's very good. That's very good. So Willie switches it up and was like, what about you? Are you stepping out? Are you dating now? He's like, currently no, but I should get into the field, right? I mean, if you could do it, so can I. It's not, nobody wants to die alone. Nobody wants to be alone. Everybody wants somebody. So Willie was like, yeah, that's true, man. You should step out, He said, come with me to the bar. He was like, wait a minute. Come with you to the bar. He's like, yeah, let's go out for drinks. He's like, I don't fraternize with my patients. I don't do that. He said, come on. What's one few two drinks? So Daniel, he finally gives in. Like, later on that day, they go out for drinks. Casual fellas going out to a regular bar, going out for drinks and food. They sit and talk, and while Willie is checking him out, he's checking out the women. So his attention is not on Willie, it's on the women that's in the bar, walking around. So Willie notices it, and he's like a little uncomfortable because he thought, he got misled by him coming out. He thought it would be about him. He was like looking around. He was like checking them women out. And he was like, yeah, getting back into the field is a hard thing sometimes. He said, I know sometimes people see right past you. He was like, yeah, that's true, man. Like, I'm not even going to lie. So he gets up. Daniel gets up. He's like, excuse me for a minute. He gets up. A guy comes in who sees Willie sitting by himself. Regular gay dude. Talks to him. Willie is seeing that Daniel is talking to a woman, but she ends up shutting him down. So the guy comes back to the table, and basically what happens is the guy was like, Willie, are you on a date? So Daniel goes, nah, man, we're just out, friendly outing. And Willie is a little taken back by that. He was like, oh, yeah, like, he's starstruck. Because he thought it was a date, but it was just a regular outing for Daniel, just to, get back into the world, whatever. So that happens, and Willie cuts the day short. He's like, I'm just going to go. And as he's getting ready to leave, a woman comes over. A nice, voluptuous-sized woman. She's a Cuban woman, nice and thick, comes over, talks to Daniel, and he's like, I'm just going to head out, man. I don't want to feel like a third wheel or anything. He was like, nah, stay. She was like, the lady turns to him and was like, I got a friend for you too, cutie. And he was like, nah, I'm cool. And he leaves. Now, the dude he's seen at the bar that approached him, he saw in the street. And he was like, hey, what are you doing? He said, nah, just waiting for an Uber. He said, you want to come home with me? He takes the dude home. They have sex. He ends up killing the dude out of frustration. Because it made him see that Daniel rejected him. So he kills the man. And when he kills him, he wraps his body up in plastic, and he beats a hole in his wall, his apartment wall, and he puts the man in it, and then he closes it back up. Right? After that, he goes to the next therapy session, and then you kind of ask him, like, hey, why'd you get out of there so fast, man? The woman was right. It was right. I mean, be a nice woman. He said, I just felt uncomfortable, and I just need to get up out of there. But I had met somebody and everything, and this is when Daniel realizes he's gay. I had met someone and we hit it off. He's like, you met somebody right after you left? He was like, yeah, met this cool rice dude, went back to my place, and we've been hitting it off ever since. He's like, that's good, man. Like, I'm proud of you, man. So then he was like, yeah, it's cool, you know. Now, that session went cool. The next following session, Willie tells Daniel I stopped seeing a guy. He was seeing other people, and I wasn't cool with that. So now I'm back to being single. So Daniel goes, that's pretty fast, man. Just last session, you was happy. You was good. I was like, I was going to go all the way. And he was just like, yeah, I thought so too. But, you know, stuff happens. You know, people got a way of making you feel like a third wheel. So he started throwing little shots at that Daniel didn't catch. So he didn't access Daniel out to like a basketball game. And Daniel was just like, hey, you know what's crazy? I am going to a basketball game with the woman he met. She's actually looking for a partner. You should come. So Willie, he agrees, comes out. He's not really into the woman. He's checking Daniel out the whole time. And when Daniel kisses the girl, Willie gets jealous. He gets jealous. The girl starts to see it, and he walks off. He's like, hey, I'm gonna get some drinks. Be right back. And the lady follows him and was like, hey, man, are you okay? She was like, yeah, I'm just, you know, hungry and a little thirsty or whatever. And the lady goes, are you into Daniel? So he starstruck like, nah, that's my guy. That's my therapist. I can't be into my therapist. Are you sure? Because you sure look like you're into him. Nah, I'm cool. I'm more into you, though. So he started flirting with her and everything. They start drinking and then end up going back to her place, which he ends up killing that lady out of aggression, of jealousy. Every time he has sex with somebody else, it makes him think of Daniel, and he ends up killing him because he feel like Daniel was rejecting him and not noticing him. So he kills the lady, right? Kills the lady, leaves her body there. He goes home, get his tools and stuff. He starts beating a hole in her wall, kill her, wrap her up in plastic, put her in her wall, and seal the wall back up, cover it back up, and leaves the apartment. Following sessions is going on and everything, and Daniel was asking him about how's the girl. My friend's been reaching out. Have you heard from her? He's like, nah, I haven't heard from her, man. I haven't heard from her. Nope. Me and her didn't really hit it off. She wasn't really my thing, so I kind of just left it where it was. That you ghost her? And he was just like, well, you could say that. He's like, how come every time you come back to these sessions and you found somebody that you didn't hit it off? Like, what's going on? You sure you ready for the dating world? He's like, I don't know, man. You know, I think I got my eye for someone else, and I don't think this person is just seeing me. I said, seriously? Why not? You're a decent brother, aren't you? Got a good job, make good money, got your own place. Why wouldn't this person see you? Like, and then he goes, oh, I don't know, Daniel, why don't you see me? So Daniel was taken back, like, what? What do you mean? He's like, yeah, why don't you see me? He said, what are you talking about? I do see you. I'm looking right at you. They're like, no, why don't you see me in that way? He was like, oh, well, to be frank with you, I'm not into... And then he goes, transgendered? No, I'm not into men. I prefer women. As you can see, when we went out to the bar, I was checking out the women, not the men. So if I was a woman, would you date me? And it kind of left a silence in the room. And Daniel was just like, I wouldn't date my patients. We went over this. I told you this the first time you were trying to get me out. He said, that's crazy. You say that because you did end up going out with me to the bar. Yeah, I just so happened to see you there. I didn't look at it as a date. I look at you as a patient. I'm trying to help you. And that's just where it is. And then Willie got real frustrated. It was like, I want you to see me for me. I want you to be with me. And he started this rage started to build in. I want you to see me for me. I want you to love me like you love these women. Be with me. And then he was like, okay. First of all, relax. Let's tone it down a little bit. Okay? This is unprofessional. And if this keeps going, I'm going to have to recommend you to go to someone else. So he was like, go to someone else. Why the fuck would you do that? So he starts getting real mad. He starts throwing chairs. He's like, okay, let's end this session. You gotta go. It's like, really? You gonna do this to me? You gotta go, buddy. And he showed his masculinity. He's like, I ain't afraid to take you down. So please leave before it gets ugly in here. So Willie leaves, and he recommends him go to another therapist that can help him. Now Willie goes to another therapist, and this therapist happened to be a gay man who looks and sees Willie. Willie sees this, and he uses it to his advantage. And the person that he went to was a colleague of Daniel's, and that therapist is telling Daniel about him. And Daniel's like, hey, just be very careful of that guy. He's very short-tempered. He's like, he seems fine to me. I think we're gonna hit it off. And then he's like, I'm thinking about dating him. And the guy was like, Daniel was like, I don't think that's professional. I don't think you should do that. And basically, the guy was like, what's the worst that can happen? So he ends up dating his patient, which he shouldn't have did. And in the midst of him dating, he hasn't thought or seen Daniel. Willie hasn't thought of seeing Daniel. And the therapist ends up bringing him up because he gets a phone call, Daniel's checking in on him. How's it going? How's things? He's like, it's going great. We've been hitting it off for the past 3 weeks. We're going to move steady. So he hears the conversation. The rage builds up, and he remembers him rejecting it. And what happens is he hangs up the phone. The two have sex. He ends up killing the therapist. Going back home, getting his tools, breaking in the wall, wrapping his body up, and then putting his body in the wall and then covering it up. Then there was a missing persons case going on. And all 3 missing people have always been with Willie. They have always been around Willie. So they start investigating around Willie, looking into it and everything. They start looking into him and seeing what's going on with him. So, the police come to Daniel and was like, hey, you know this man? I was like, yeah, that's Willie Wonders. He was a patient of mine way back a few months ago. I had to actually, recommend him go to somebody else because of his rage and his temper. And he actually see me as somebody he was interested in. I just couldn't do that. It wasn't professional. So I recommend him and go to somebody else. He said, yeah, the officer was like, the person you recommended him to go to is dead. So Daniel's taken back like, what? He's like, yeah, he's dead. We found him. We found a stench in his apartment, and it was coming from the wall. And we found his body in the wall. And Daniel was taken back like, it's crazy. And you think, Willie did that? And they found 2 other people with the same killed the same way. And they was patched into the wall. So cops started looking into Willie, and they seen him at a bar. He was going home with another guy, and they was sitting on his house, and they noticed the guy didn't come back out the apartment. Willie came back out. He went in for like 3 days straight. That guy that Willie brought home did not come out of Willie's apartment. So neighbors on Willie's floor started to smell a stench in the hallway of a dead body. And when the officers got to the floor, they smelled it too. They reeked, and it really came from Willie's apartment. So they came in, and they was like, it's a stench, and they trying to clear everybody out. And they had a warrant to search his place, and they smelled the dead body in the apartment, which they was like, hey, is there something going on in here? And Willie's like, nah, ain't nothing going on. Well, what's up? He said, you don't smell that? And he was kind of like, no. So one of the officers noticed something about the wall that was peeling. So he went over there and he kind of peeled it off, and he saw a finger sticking out. And he called the other officer, was like, come, what that look like to you? He said, it looked like a finger. So they end up breaking the wall and finding 3 dead bodies in his walls. They arrested Willie, sent him to prison. He's in there doing 45 to life. And that's the story of Willie Wonders. It's your boy Carter TV. I'm out.